Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. I'm excited to be joined once again by Hannah Rankin, who has some really exciting news that we're going to be going into. But first of all, Hannah, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Yeah, so I guess we can start off with the big news then. I'll let you take it away and kind of let the audience know the exciting news.
So I'm going to be fighting for the WBA Super Welterweight World Title on the 5th of November here in London. So obviously extremely excited about that, and I absolutely cannot wait to get in there. Also, it's going to be I'm headlining an all-female card. So yeah, a big step forward for women's boxing, and it's going to be a great night.
Yeah, from what I know and what I've been researching, I think that's going to be the first all-female boxing lineup, which has been fantastic, especially with yourself headlining for a world title as well. So it's a proper card. This isn't it's a Saturday night fight night where someone's fighting for, and of course, British title, European title is fantastic, but it's a world title on the line, which is incredible. So that's going to be hopefully a trendsetter going forward, and hopefully get more eyes on women's boxing, which is only good for the sport. Can you give any more details on it? I mean, do you know the dates, etc., or venue, or is it still kind of up in the air?
So the venue is about to be announced really soon.
Okay.
It's going to be on the 5th of November. It will be here in London, which is great for me because obviously having won my first world title at home in Scotland, London's my second home. I've been here for years now. So to win my second world title in my second home is just, it's perfect, really.
Yeah. Any idea? I'm assuming that the opponent has been decided, but you're not allowed to say yet, are you?
Oh yeah, the opponent has been decided. I do know who it is, and as do all my whole team. But
Yeah.
it's going to be announced very, very soon. Probably next week it'll be coming out. So it's going to be a great fight and an exciting one for people to watch.
Fantastic. I assume the details for the undercard, etc. Are you allowed to say who might be on the undercard, etc., or is that kind of again like details that'll be released?
So all of that's to be finalised in the next coming months. Obviously, I'm working with Fight Zone and Dennis Hobson Promotions. So yeah, Fight Zone has become an amazing platform that's recently just it's quite a recent formation, really. And I just think it's fantastic. They're looking to put forward a whole female card, and I'm really proud to be working with them and Dennis. I think it's going to be very exciting, and they've been getting lots of female fights on their cards. As they've been going through them, each week there's been another show, and most of them have had a female fight on them. So I think it's going to be a great chance for those girls and myself to maybe get a chance on this main card here. So yeah, really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, we talked last time about women's boxing is starting to boom, and I think it's continuing to do so. Obviously, there's been some big fights recently, with people on cards, not just on I guess platforms like Fight Zone, but of course Matchroom and others. Obviously, in Eddie's backyard at the moment as well. So, have you managed to catch any of the fights? Obviously, the Ebanie Bridges fought, I think, last week, and a few others. You seem to be a very, very keen fan of the sport. Some boxers I've talked to, they say, which I find really strange, but I can maybe see why, is they say, look, I don't even watch boxing. I just kind of focus on myself.
Don't understand that. I do not understand how you can't watch the sport that you love to be part of. It's madness. That's like saying
it is, yeah.
Enjoy it. I'm a really keen boxing fan, and very much enjoy watching all the fights on a Saturday night or Friday night, and even when we've had some midweek ones, the Wednesdays when MTK were doing some shows. So yeah, no, it's great fun, and it's good to see all the other girls coming out. Obviously, a really good friend of mine, Sandy Ryan, she made her debut the other day on the Matchroom card, and I've just been so excited to see her get going. And it was obviously a successful debut, but she was fighting another friend of mine, Kirsty Babington, who I've also sparred with. So, it's always interesting for me seeing two people that I've worked with up there on fighting each other. But, I've supported both girls, but just very pleased that Sandy's on her way in the pro game, and Kirsty gave a great representation of herself. So it was another good fight for people to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for people who are not as familiar with Sandy Ryan, obviously she's made her kind of breakthrough now here into the pro ranks. What can you tell people who are maybe not as familiar with her? What is she about? What can they expect from her going forward?
Oh, so first of all, Sandy has been involved in boxing for such a long time. She has a brother who also is a very successful professional boxer. So it kind of is in the family. She's been doing it from a young age. She was at Team GB on the podium team. She was very successful there. She won medals, I think, at the Worlds and the Europeans as well. So, yeah, she's very successful. Didn't end up going away for the Olympics with everything being delayed and just decided to go over into the pro ranks. And I think that was the right decision for her. She's been itching to get into it. So I think, yeah, she's one to watch. And if anybody hasn't seen her before, look her up online, Sandy Ryan. She's got a great future ahead of her in the sport.
No, 100%. And obviously another person that also fought recently was Ebanie Bridges, who I think it's probably safe to say that probably a bit weirdly, but she seems to be relatively divisive, I think, for some people. I think, but to be honest, she has a fantastic following and she seems to just keep on growing, really. I want to get your thoughts on it, just as someone who's obviously in female boxing, you're probably one of the best qualified people to talk about it, given that you've won a world title, you're going to be challenging for another one as well, and you're headlining these shows and you've got to where you've got to. And obviously you've got more ambitions going forward. She's kind of relatively new. I know she's been boxing for a little bit of time, but was quite late to the scene and obviously has her very unique way of how she kind of, I guess, markets herself really and tries to get eyes on her fights. What's your views on it?
So as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to professional boxing, the thing that people need to remember is that we need to sell tickets. It's not just about the sport. You are a business yourself. And it's something that I always try and tell new people coming through, that you've got to think of yourself as a business. You have to sell yourself. You need to be able to promote yourself well. And Ebanie Bridges has a fantastic body and she doesn't mind getting into her bikini. And that's how she's built her following. People follow her because she looks really, really good. And to be honest, I've got nothing to say bad about that, because at the end of the day, she's getting bums on seats, selling tickets, and she's got a great following. And that's getting more people to watch the sport that maybe would not have watched the sport before. So, but everybody's different. And myself, I wouldn't get into my bikini on the scales, but then I've always been quite body conscious, quite nervous about doing that sort of thing. But Ebanie's got a great body and she doesn't mind showing it off. But then also she's got a background in, I think she did bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And she also was a ring girl in boxing, involved as a ring girl. So, she's not adverse to wearing less clothing and doing and strutting her stuff around, and good honor for doing it, having the confidence to do that. But like I said, everybody's different and you've got to stay sort of true to your own kind of character. And if you feel confident doing that, by all means, go ahead. But I think this is what is dividing people. They're saying, oh, it should be about the sport and it shouldn't be about what people look like. But at the end of the day, there's plenty of people looking at Anthony Joshua saying he looks great when he's training and stuff like that. So it works both ways.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think it's more, look, you're allowed to market stuff however you want, and then it's up to the consumer, right, to whether you want to then digest it or not. And clearly people are, because she's got such a huge following. So
but what I should also say as well is that Ebanie Bridges can fight. And I think people just assume she was this girl that she was just getting into her bikinis on stage and trying to get people to follow her for what she looked like. But actually, when we saw her have that fight with Shannon Courtney, there was an absolute war, and people saw a real other side to her. She's got skills, and she's growing in there, and she doesn't mind getting in there for a proper fight. And I think that's why people are starting to really warm to her as well, because they can see that she's about the sport as much as she's about the other side of it as well. So yeah, people should really watch her, because she's actually coming along and she's going to go places.
Yeah, she's got substance there, hasn't she? I think she was really impressive against Beck Connolly as well, who's obviously a tough campaigner as well. So yeah, she can definitely fight. I think there's no question about that. So it'll be interesting to see how far she can go. And she's, I guess, she's definitely a late bloomer in terms of her age and where when she started even. So it'll be very intriguing, but she definitely is someone who, as you said, brings eyes to boxing. So,
you've also got to admire the fact that throughout the pandemic, she made use of that time to build herself as a name. She's in Australia, and Australia is really far away, and it's a massive country. So I can imagine getting sparring is not that easy in Australia, and getting fights sorted, because it's so big, everyone's so spread out. So what she did was use her time wisely, get a fan base growing here in the UK, and then get over here on a show in the UK. So and now people know about her here, and it's like me with my fan base in America. You have to grow out with the country that you're in, and she certainly did a great job doing that.
Yeah, agreed. And talking of fan bases, obviously now I'm sure you've got a bit of a fan base in South Africa. Obviously,
Yeah.
fighting there recently against Coloso Endobini. I hope I haven't butchered the name. And obviously winning that on points. First of all, we talked a little bit about that before the fight, obviously, and I know we exchanged some messages talking about whether you're doing any sightseeing, etc., which I think was pretty limited in the end. But what was your experience like there? I mean, if you just explain to the viewers, I guess, in terms of, first of all, how's the build up in South Africa, and of being in a pandemic, I guess, would have affected that quite a lot. The fight and also the aftermath as well, and how do you find it?
Well, first of all, it was my first time going down to welterweight, so it was the first time fighting at that weight, and I felt great there. I was planning on sticking around at that weight, but actually the opportunities just come up again at super welter. So yeah, I'll just step up to super welter. No problem for me. But I really enjoyed going to Cape Town. It was a fascinating place to visit. The people were really friendly, and there's a real boxing culture there. It is a part of life out there. So it was an exciting place to box. I was actually boxing in the prison while I was there. So thankfully there weren't any prison inmates there, but we were in one of the halls that is frequented by the families that live on the site. So it was quite a big space, and it was quite good fun. And I really enjoyed visiting South Africa in general. And we were treated really, really well. I think before we went, obviously, I was saying to you, my family was stressing because they've been hearing about the South African variant, and it was really, really stressful. But actually, when we got there, it's kind of like what the UK is like now. So it was just face masks out in public. You could still go to the gym, you could go to the cafe, you could go to a pub. So there wasn't any sort of these crazy restrictions that my family were panicking about. So yeah, we had a really good time there.
Yeah, did you manage to get any sightseeing done after, or no? None?
Not really. Well, there was a problem with me getting back to the UK, and
Yeah,
it's
I
actually
remember.
on the UK side of things, getting my quarantine hotel. I was waiting for an email confirmation, and because I didn't have the confirmation, I couldn't get on the flight. It was one of those situations. It being a weekend, no one was there to get my email, so a bit stressful. But I had a few extra days in Cape Town and got to check it out a little bit and go down to the sea, down to the coast and stuff. So yeah, it really is a very, very beautiful place.
No, it must have been a very unique experience for sure, and it sounds great. Going forward, then, because you've obviously got this fight in November. I'm assuming that will be you done for the year in terms of fights, right? You'll then look towards 2022.
Yes. So, like, I was meant to be preparing to fight. I was meant to go back to South Africa for the end of May, but obviously with COVID and everything going a little bit out of control, but there was no way to get back to South Africa. And then so I moved towards the Scotland show, which has just happened in Hamilton with Fight Zone. And I was going to fight there on the 16th of July, but then Nicola Sturgeon kiboshed that one and said, oh, things can't open up till the 19th. So then it got moved to the 31st. So all this time I've been prepping for fights, and the dates have just been changing. And then, of course, this opportunity came up, and I thought, you know what, sod it. We're going to go for this one at the beginning of November. And then we'll aim to fight again in the next year. So, yeah. It's been a bit of up and down, but I think all fighters are having that experience at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a very, I think it's almost one of those years where people just have to go with the flow a little bit, isn't it? Because you just don't know what's going to happen, and it's pretty topsy-turvy. So I guess it can be frustrating at times, but hopefully it won't be for too much longer. You hope anyway. Who knows? Yeah. We thought it'd be 2 months, and then it's 2 years, and who knows how long it'll be for. But yeah, in terms of, I guess, you spar a lot of fighters, like top fighters and prospects coming through. In terms of, I wanted to ask you actually, not just for myself actually as well, but for everyone else who's listening, in terms of some of the prospects coming through, is there anyone that people should be keeping an eye out for when they make a breakthrough, who are, or maybe haven't made a debut or have been, but are maybe kind of gone on the radar a little bit?
Well, I think Stevie Levy, she's doing really well. She's with Fight Zone at the moment. She's one to watch, definitely. A little bit of a pocket rocket, and definitely one that I enjoy watching in the ring. She's got some great skills. She's linked up with Dave Allen, so she's got great support there. And yeah, she's a great girl. And also, obviously, like I said, Sandy Ryan turning over, very, very exciting about that. Because she's near my weight. I think she boxed at super light, or she'd always stay at super lightweight. But it's an exciting weight class for her to be entering into. Loads of great names in that division. And of course, one of my best friends, Eliie Scotney, she's always someone that we should be watching out for because she's got skills for days. And she's one that I can definitely see later on in the future becoming a world champion. So, yeah, those three definitely people to watch.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Yeah, Eliie Scotney's one I'm a bit more familiar with. She's definitely looks like, as you said, she's got skills to pay the bills. So she looks very good, and I'll definitely keep an eye out for the others as well. In terms of, I guess, the current climate of boxing, I was just thinking. I was thinking before, which kind of matchups can I ask you about, and I was hoping I'd be able to ask you about, Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields, but it hasn't been confirmed, and Katie Taylor. There's not, obviously she's going to be fighting soon, but it's not kind of like the big fight that everyone's thinking, this is going to be a massive challenge for Katie. But there's a few obviously interesting fights coming up anyways, and so I want to get your thoughts on it. One that's coming up pretty soon is Warrington versus Lara, the rematch. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that and how you think that's going to go.
Okay, well, so I'm a big Josh Warrington fan. I think he's a great guy. I was lucky enough to meet him before at the BBC Sports Awards, and he's a really, really good guy. And I love watching him fight. I just don't think that was the Josh Warrington that we know in the ring that night. So I think the rematch is a very risky thing to do, 100%, because obviously, it was a difficult defeat for him, and he's got to go in and fight those demons straight off the bat again. And of course, the Mexican's going to be coming in feeling super confident and not worrying about that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's one that I'm going to be a little bit nervous for watching. But I think if Josh is on his A game and obviously super focused, and I think he's taking himself away from family at the moment and he's just in the gym and that's all he's focusing on, then I think, we could see him turn it around. So I'm quite excited to see that fight, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's going to be very interesting. And what about the one coming up this weekend, Buatsi and Bolotniks? How do you see that one going?
Again, Josh is such a nice guy, and he used to come down to Churchill's for a bit of training sometimes, and I saw him there, and he's always got a kind word, and he asks you how you're getting on and stuff. So a lot of respect for Josh, and this is a tough fight for him, a really tough fight. Bolotniks is looking in incredible shape. I think he's coming to cause the upset, but yeah, Josh has got a great finishing instinct, and I love to see it when he gets his man going. He just goes until it's stopped, or he's knocked them out. He's got power, he's got skills. So yeah, I think he'll not rush in at the beginning of this one, but I think it's going to be one of those ones where I'm again going to be on the edge of my seat for that.
Yeah, that's going to be I guess this is going to be Buatsi's step up, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is his fight to break through, so it'll be interesting. And there's a few others that I want to get your views on. So obviously AJ Fury's not happening, but AJ Usyk's happening by the looks of it. How do you see that one going? I probably shouldn't be asking about fighters that I know you're pretty friendly with as well, so you're probably just going to be quite biased, but I'll ask you anyways.
So obviously a big AJ fan as well, and I think overall he's going to get the stoppage later on in the fight. I think at the beginning we're going to see Usyk show off his skills and abilities on that beautiful footwork, getting around the ring, and I think AJ is probably going to be behind at halftime. But I think at the end of it, once he catches up with him, I think he hits too hard. And like I said, like Joshua Buatsi, he's got a great finishing instinct, one that we all love to see. So I think he'll get hold of him in the second half of the fight, and he'll win it by knockout or TKO or whatever. But I'm sticking with Josh on this one. Absolutely.
Okay. And then one that maybe you don't have as much of a vested interest in, I guess. Anthony Yarde and Lyndon Arthur, the rematch for that.
So in the first fight, Lyndon boxed brilliantly. I mean, his jab is, I would love to have a jab like Lyndon Arthur. It's one of the most beautiful things in boxing. I think Anthony Yarde started to get what he wanted to achieve just too late in the fight. He just didn't do enough early on. So I think the second fight, Lyndon's going to have to be really on his A game, because I think Anthony Yarde's going to come in like really clear and sure about what he wants to do right from the get-go. And I think he's going to push the pace, because I think he just waited back too long in the first one. So I think I'm going to stick with Lyndon Arthur for a win on this one, but I think it is a dangerous fight, and Anthony Yarde can bang. So I think, if he's going to come in straight from the beginning and put pressure on Lyndon's going to have to be really switched on.
That's going to be very interesting. And then just to finish up kind of from my side, I wanted to ask you, so since I guess we've talked before, there's been this, I guess, YouTube or celebrity boxing kind of coming into play, and one person that obviously seems to be trying to take it seriously, but obviously is moving very interestingly, is Jake Paul. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't. Well, but me personally, I don't stay up to watch it. It's not something I'm interested in watching. He seems to be trying to take it seriously, but then I hear him talking a lot of nonsense. I'm just kind of a bit like, well, I can't take him seriously. But at the end of the day, you've got to respect him for his hustle and what he's managed to achieve. There's boxers out there that will never make the money that he's making, and this is like, he's a YouTuber. You know, he's actually built his fan base on YouTube, and I think it's probably a good example to people that they really need to take care of their social media. They need to take care of their own promotion and actually get themselves out there, because the more people that know them, the bigger support they have. Again, more money you're going to make, more interesting fights you'll be in, more exciting pair-ups, that sort of thing. So he's not someone I'm going to stay up to watch, but I think you've got to admire the fact that he's managed to create a career in the boxing world when he's not really a boxer.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's you're just going to take it with a pinch of salt and probably just take it for what it is. And if it tickles your fancy, then watch it. But I think a lot of people like yourself are probably just saying, you know, it's not really for us.
There's one other positive. So obviously he's got such a wide reach in his fan base and stuff. So I think Amanda Serrano's on the next card with him.
Yeah, she's on the undercard, yeah.
Exactly. It's a Triller, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So obviously the money's there. Him being on that card is creating a lot of money for the fighters underneath on the card. So you get a slot on a Triller card. The production's great. The promotion's really, really good. So it's a great opportunity for fighters to actually be on a very well publicized, very exciting card. It just so happens that Jake Paul happens to be on it as well. But there's often a lot of great other fighters on the card too. Like I will be tuning in to watch Amanda Serrano because I think she's great. She's one of our top female fighters in the game, full stop. Very, very exciting resume. Just she can bang. She's just going through between all the weight classes, so she's really exciting. So I will tune in to watch her. So if I happen to end up watching the end of it with Jake Paul, you never know. But like I said, it's a great platform that he's created that actually some fighters are getting a chance to take advantage of.
Yeah, interesting. Cool. I think that's everything from me. Is there anything you want to touch upon?
No, just make sure you all tune in to watch my world title fight on Fight Zone on the 5th of November. To sign up for Fight Zone is $4.99, so it's not going to break the bank. It's less than £2 here in London. So yeah, if you want to tune in to watch my world title fight, and of course all the other girls on the card, it's going to be an exciting night of boxing. And of course it's you know, making a little bit of history, first female card, very exciting times. So yeah, make sure you all tune in and watch it. It's going to be a great night.
Perfect. Yeah, guys, please do remember to tune into that. I'm really looking forward to that card. Actually, it's going to be great. Thank you, Hannah, again for being on. I do appreciate it. It's great to catch up again. Yeah. I'm sure maybe close to the time of your fight in November, or I'm sure just after as well, we can do another catch up. But yeah, really nice speaking to you again, and all the best.
Yes, thank you very much. Thanks for getting in touch. Always great to catch up with you.
No worries. Thanks. All the best, Hannah.
Cheers.